Heidi saves lives, but she has to put up with a lot. Last year, she was called out to an elderly man who was drunk and had fallen over. While she was assessing him, he sexually assaulted her, groping her multiple times as she tried desperately to treat him. After dropping him off at hospital, she broke down in tears. But confused about whether what had happened was just part of a difficult job, it was 2 weeks before she reported it to police.
I was angered by myself because I'm normally a very confident and very self-controlled person. And so I was angered at myself for the way I reacted, that I'd become weak, that I hadn't been able to establish what was morally right and what was morally wrong.
The man initially denied the assault, but changed his plea to guilty at the last minute. He was given a 12-month conditional discharge, meaning he wouldn't be sentenced unless he offended again. Heidi welcomed that, but she was still left fearful of returning to work at Longwater Ambulance Station in Norwich.
There was a period shortly after where I'd lost all self-respect for myself, and I'd go into jobs where there was no police and there was a knife on scene, and I wouldn't care. I'd lost respect for myself. I'd gone to a point where if this man didn't care about who I was or the fact that I was a paramedic, then it was a bit like my cape had been taken off. You go into jobs and you think no one will hurt you because you're a paramedic and you're doing a good job, whereas this guy obviously completely ripped that away from me, and so I became very self-destructive in effect for a short period of time.
And Heidi's story is worryingly common. The East of England Ambulance Service Trust has just released figures showing the number of physical assaults against members of staff has risen by almost 20%, from 195 in 2014-15 to 232 last year.
Unfortunately, verbal assaults are on the increase, with just being shouted at, being sworn at, being spat at, which is completely unacceptable, through to the physical assaults of being pushed around the back of the ambulance, pushed at cars, pushed at the nightclubs. All these things are just unacceptable.
As a result of the attack on Heidi, the Trust has made it easier for staff to report incidents. But she says with increasing demand on emergency services, it's a problem that's not going away.
Multiple times I've been assaulted, spat at, punched, sexually assaulted. I think that it will gradually get worse. I think there'll come a time where we have security guards on our ambulances. That's where I think it will head to.
Heidi's now back on the front line, but she'll never forget what she was put through by someone she was called to help. Her bosses say patient care is a top priority, but it must not endanger those trying to provide it. Lauren Hewitt, Mustard TV, Norwich.